Chapter 1. The First Brick. The city of Ravenswood had always been known for its foggy autumn nights. Halloween was no exception. As dusk fell on the small, tightly knit community, the mist rolled in from the river, blanketing the streets in an ethereal glow. The usual excitement of Halloween filled the air as children, dressed in costumes ranging from witches to superheroes, began their annual trick-or-treating. Laughter echoed through the narrow alleys, mixing with the rustle of leaves and the occasional hoot of an owl. But this Halloween, something was different. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, ominous shadows, a strange phenomena occurred in the heart of the city. In the middle of the town square, where the cobblestone paths met under the old oak tree, a path began to form. It started with just a single brick, an eerie, blood-red brick that seemed to pulse with an unnatural light. Slowly, as if placed by an invisible hand, more bricks materialized, creating a winding path that snaked its way through the square and disappeared into the fog. No one noticed at first. The children were too busy comparing candy hauls, and the adults too occupied with their own festivities. But as the path extended, stretching across the cobblestones, a strange feeling settled over the square. It was as if the air had thickened, becoming heavy and oppressive. The laughter of the children grew quieter, their footsteps more tentative. 8-year-old Emily Parker was among the first to notice the path. Dressed as a princess, complete with a glittering tiara and a flowing pink gown, she had wandered slightly ahead of her group. Her candy bag, already half full, swung at her side as she skipped across the cobblestones, eager to reach the next house. But as she approached the center of the square, she stopped abruptly, her eyes widening in confusion. The red bricks seemed to glow in the mist, each one perfectly aligned with the next, leading into the shadows beyond the square. Emily had never seen a path like this before. It hadn't been there earlier, she was sure of it. The bricks looked old, worn at the edges, as if they had been part of the city for centuries. Yet their blood-red hue was so vivid, so fresh. Curiosity piqued, Emily took a tentative step onto the path. The moment her foot touched the first brick, a chill shot up her spine. The temperature around her seemed to drop several degrees, and the mist thickened, swirling around her like a living thing. She shivered, pulling her costume tighter around her small frame, but she couldn't resist the pull of the path. It was as if it was calling to her, whispering her name in the rustling leaves. She took another step, and then another. The mist swallowed her whole, and the sounds of the square, the laughter, the distant chatter, faded into an eerie silence. Emily's heart began to race, a sense of dread creeping into her chest. She turned to look back at the square, but it was gone, obscured by the thick fog. All that remained was the red brick path stretching before her, leading into the unknown. Unbeknownst to Emily, she was being watched. A pair of eyes, cold and calculating, followed her every move from the shadows. The figure remained hidden, blending seamlessly with the fog, but the presence was undeniable. The air around Emily grew colder, the oppressive silence pressing down on her small shoulders. She hesitated, her instincts screaming at her to turn back, to run, but her feet refused to obey. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed through the mist, a sound like breaking glass. Emily gasped, her breath coming in short, panic burst.